Seeing no one, hearing no one, we will invite up Lorraine Staunch, who has a present to make for us for a community support grant. She's joined by Joe McBain, who is the property owner. Lorraine is the artist that we're talking about.
Okay. Well, as a matter of fact, I was approached by Joe to really make a difference in that big wall. Now, the history part of that building,
Does everybody, first of all, they have where this,
The back
where we're
side of
talking
the
about?
machete
Canal
tire.
side.
yes.
Yep,
Canal
yep,
side.
I'm with you.
Now,
Okay.
the Mule House.
Yeah.
And so here you go, Joe. So doing a dimensional, this mural will be 50 feet across. The building is 55. And I am bringing historic colors into the mix. And what is our beautiful bridge in the old colors. And over here, the mules that kind of brought the whole thing together. Each of these letters are going to be a very important part of the village. So the reason we came up with all this, here we go. The reason we came up with this idea is everyone who's traveling through Fairport, whether it's on the canal or, you know, over the bridge, or the pedestrians across or 5 feet away from that wall. It's a great photo op. It's a great photo op from across the way, and also selfies right there. So our whole thing was to make sure that it went into the color scheme of the entire village, and I think we pretty much have accomplished that. So I'm sure a lot of you are not familiar with my art, but I tend to do a lot in the area. And here we've got our mule. And here you go. And then we also have, and I'm a chameleon. So the nice thing is, if we're looking for an old-timey look, I can like switch gears and use that color palette. Or if we want it bright and cheery, which I don't think this would be a good application for that, but we can also do that. So I did, Donna, I did give numbers and how we can achieve this. And I think that was all sent to you prior to the meeting today. But also, just so you know, we do buffaloes also. So, yep, so any questions?
Thanks, Lorraine. Yes, the board has your application in their packet.
So questions for Lorraine or Joe as the property owner?
We're going to have another discussion as it relates to the request, right? Or is this just?
This is the discussion as it relates to the request.
Yeah, we're gonna
Yes.
get them in
Yeah.
and out, so.
For the art. And then Joe has more down the road in terms of the doors and the big signs, I believe.
Yeah, but that would be a wholly separate application that is not associated with this application. This is Lorraine's application. That's the mural on Joe's building. Should Joe decide to pursue a different grant opportunity in the future, we'll talk about that then, but this is just the mural.
Okay.
I like that.
So I guess I'll start with if I could start with a very basic question.
Sure.
I thought our community support grants were for organizations. That they typically went to organizations and not to fund individual activities.
Trying to think. I know that they have been projects.
Like the Rotary mural, we didn't pay for the mural, we paid for the installation of it on the building.
Yeah, good, yes.
And like the grant funding we got for the Thomas Creek covered the project and the art. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That was a state canals grant, right? I was just trying to look at,
Yeah.
I was thinking, we were talking over the weekend about previous art projects that we have supported. And to what extent did we cover the costs or support the murals?
Yeah, and I think it'd have to look beyond murals. I mean, because,
Right.
you know, a lot of the community board goes to a parade, it goes to a festival. But there are also project-based things that we have contributed to. Now, who was the applicant? I guess I can't remember, you know, the specifics of which ones might have been.
Well, the reason that we went into this Fairport, where, you know, having the lettering and announcing to everyone who's coming down the canal, you know, because a lot of times they don't remember or know where they are. It's like, are we in Macedon? Are we in Pittsburgh? This is 55 feet of clarification, you know?
Yeah, I don't think I have any questions about the concept. I think it's a great, I mean, yeah, like we always say, the canals are other Main Street. And so this is a great way to advertise it. I'm just trying to figure out the funding mechanism, and if, like, well, like, why wouldn't it go?
I don't know that if our standards for this precludes anything like we're talking about.
Okay.
But maybe, I'm not even sure of that, but even if there were precedent, I mean, I don't think there's anything that would preclude us from doing this.
Okay.
So it's really tourism based, this mural. Because if it was, you know, that's how come we went down that path.
So have you talked to the partnership at all?
No,
Or
they're not.
the arts committee? Or?
Arts committee was, yes, Jonna reached out to the arts committee and sent that to them. They were very appreciative of receiving it. She went through Pat Rapp, and Pat then forwarded the rest of the committee, and we have not heard anything other than appreciation. So,
and just from a standpoint, Jim is here. Jim, have you met Jim, our new code? Jim?
Yeah.
Hello.
Here.
Here. Jim is our new code enforcement officer, and what Jim and I were talking back on this side was, does this constitute signage, or is it a mural? And Jim believes that it constitutes a mural, that it does not fall under the guidelines for signage.
yeah. When
To trigger site plan review. was the-
John
Yeah.
and I met with Jim, and then Brian joined the conversation. And that there was a time that it may have included the mule house within the mural
Right, so
itself.
we were just
And that's-
confirming all
Yeah,
that.
and that is not
Yeah.
happening. So, this, it's definitely an art piece as opposed to any kind of signage.
And it's just a celebration piece of our village.
And if she didn't explain, within those letters, the things that we have in front of us will be like the pictures that show up within, or
Yeah.
some of them.
Yeah.
That will show up.
And I did give the postcards just to give you guys an idea of the type of quality and the look that we're gonna have. And the nice thing is, from across the street, this is gonna be in your face, but in historic colors. So so any questions?
No, I don't know that I'm being invited to comment on the aesthetic of it, but I will just say I appreciate the thoughtful choices you made on the color scheme that I think will look lovely against the bridge and the surrounding landscape. So just kudos to you for the thoughtfulness of your color choice.
Oh, thank you.
Lorraine, one of the things that was included in your application includes, I think you called it an entrance niche. Something additional for the entrance niche there?
Oh, yes, the entrance to the mule house. So one thing that we were kind of thinking, that one, we're kind of throwing ideas around, but kind of having lettering from all the different stops on the canal. So having Albany, having Buffalo, you know, we're still kind of like thinking in terms of the colors and that kind of stuff.
And I think that we will be focusing just on the mural.
Just on the mural,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, I think I would like to focus our attention on the mural today, and I feel like the side door entrance that's being, you know, proposed and designed. It is a separate thing in the same way that, you know, I'd like to have a, you know, really cool kind of English style pub sign that kind of hangs out.
Light
and swings and
signs,
stuff. And
yeah.
again, like,
Yeah.
that's a separate.
And I think that's what the code is encouraging, the new code is encouraging blade signs, correct?
I believe so.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, yeah, we're definitely not lumping them all together right now.
Good.
I was just, and forgive me, I am new to the board, so this is the context of all of my many questions. Historically, have we used funds? I think this is what you were driving at. Have we used funds for this in this way? Is this a new use of funds? How does it, like,
We
what are
have
the
used-
guidelines around
We have
these
used
funds?
funds for public art.
Okay.
Correct?
Yeah,
That
but
supported
I will
public
s-
art projects.
I would say, I'm not sure if it is completely relevant, but if we weren't doing the mural, and if it was just purely for my own, like, self-business interests, I would probably do a really cool, you know, big mural house.
Advertisement.
Stylized font, you know, mural house, or whatever, and that would serve my interest the best, just from a purely business point of view.
If it passed through the
Such
code.
incredible, like, blank canvas essentially. It's so visible.
The guidelines for this grant
Now,
not created yet,
being
but
part,
this is
you
a
know,
habit here. And so
you know,
this
being
is
part of
kind
the
of
neighborhood
like,
soon,
you know, it's for
it seems
organization.
to make a lot of sense to me that doing something with somebody like Lorraine
Financial
would be
systems
a
programs
really
and
good kind of community type.
organizations
So
that
that's kind of why
do
I
this.
offered
And
up
so
that wall
project, I
for
think
something
it's
like this. And I
that.
can, I feel like on that side door piece, you know, I can put a little wheelhouse sign or something yet to be
Yeah.
designed. There's plenty of other opportunities for me to, you know, pop your house somewhere away from that amazing blank canvas that we're proposing now.
Yeah, I'm driving purely at process and ensuring we're kind of in compliance with the funding mechanism and making sure we're using the right tools to help advance things. That was what I was driving at. The other question I would have
I
is,
think it supports a local
historically,
business.
I don't know the
I
answer
think
to this, I'm
prices
just probably
public art,
historically
so I
murals
think
in the
there's a
village.
couple of different
Have those gone through any
And
type
then
of
mine's
design review by anybody?
branded.
Those have all come from public art.
Okay,
So, which is why I personally would be more comfortable doing this through a committee, through some kind of public committee or organization. Because you've got quality control, you know, you've got buy-in from the broader public. I mean, we have 4 individuals sitting here, and we like you know, like you said, I love the vision of this, but I'm not sure.
Well, I think the mechanism is that we have gone to the Public Arts Committee, they have seen it, they've reviewed it, they have, again, nothing but acceptance of what has happened. We've met with the village for their input as it relates to code, and they have seen what we're looking at, they have seen, and are able to comment. So I'm not sure who else would be, because I'll also go to the Rotary did a mural.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that was committee based. I think it was the Rotary says this is what we want
They
to do.
talked about, like, I went back and looked at the Rotary stuff and I did a Google, you know, and searched like some of the history stuff behind it. And they talked about having commissioned it. And I don't know if that was in this same capacity or if they put it out for proposals and selected it. I don't know how their process was, but we didn't pay for the mural. We only paid to install it on the building. We only paid $1,500 to put it on the building. Because it wasn't mounted for like a couple of years after. It was part of like the World Mural Conference or something. There was a big conference back in like 10 years ago.
It was at least 2019 before it was mounted.
Right, it was 2019 when it was mounted, but it was
Yeah.
done in 2016 as part of the mural conference. So it was like 3 years later. So we didn't have, that was pre my, you know, I wasn't involved in the board or any of that stuff at that time, just doing searching and figuring out. And I guess, go ahead.
I wanted to offer, sorry to interrupt. This is Brandon from Hutch and Rush. He's here in Ed's stead today. And understanding there's a few discussions going on here. Can you give a view of the appropriateness of this mural for this program based on your review
Yeah,
of the
based
guidelines?
on my first time review of these guidelines and seeing the mural, I think we're well within the spirit of this, but I think you're also asking the right questions. So while I think you could do it under this policy, if anyone is uncomfortable, I can see why based on the questions that you're asking. And one thought would be, like I said, I believe it fits within the spirit of this. You could, post on your website or do a public notice and invite additional public comment just to see if anyone objects, and that would cover your bases a little bit more. But I think even in the absence of doing that, we're well within the spirit of this project. I know it's different than what's been approved in the past, but again, I think we're within the same spirit of that.
And I guess another question I had was, is the request for 50% of the cost, have we, other than art that we generated and chose to place, like at Thomas Creek, we obviously we put that out for competitive bid, chose the artwork, again, before my time, and then placed it through grant funding that came through with over the whole project of the Thomas Creek wetlands and the butterfly garden and all that sort of stuff. Have we in the past paid that large a sum supported it at 50% of the cost for our project that we weren't involved with or generating? That's another question I had.
Do you know the answer?
I don't.
I don't.
That's why.
You
Other
gotta
than,
know.
the most recent thing I found was our contribution to the Rotary, and I was struggling to find online, our minutes online only go back to 2019, which was somewhat surprising to me. But that's a whole separate conversation that we will be fixing, I feel. But I don't know. I felt I was that number of 57 almost.
Well, I think that what we should be talking about is the $9,600 number for the mural
So
itself.
putting it at
So
48.
yeah.
Right, that pulls out the entrance niche.
And
Okay.
the precedent, I guess, of paying 50% of a project that we didn't start or generate. Do you know what I'm saying? Or we weren't involved in the planning for. How's that, I guess?
That was the reason we put out for RFP the thing at Thomas Wetland because that's OCED property.
OCED property.
Right, and so
Project, our updates, and we decided we wanted art there because that's another entrance to the community off the path.
Right. To me, it's an interesting and distinct situation here with a private property owner who's interested in using their frontage property to offer an opportunity to the village
Community purposes.
for community purposes. So it's, all of that history, I don't know.
Right.
What I guess I appreciate the code enforcement opinion, which tells us that the planning board doesn't need to review from a signage perspective. What I just continue to feel like is OCED the right board to make the decision about such a very large item? But I don't know the answer to that. I don't know.
Is it?
And how does it differ from, for example, and I'm arguing with myself here, how does it differ, for example, from like a facade grant that would change an exterior facade? I don't, which is a decision that we review and make. So I'm offering all of those thoughts like I usually do as a rumble for people to consider, but that's what's ticking around in my brain.
A potential alternative for the board, if you want to consider it, is to your point about OCED, we have a lot of valuable opinions to offer on the village, but ultimately a funding mechanism for certain projects. So perhaps your approval could be conditional on a different review or approval, whether that's from.
I'm not sure who that review would
That's what I
come
know.
from.
Yeah, I guess I hear what you're saying,
Yeah,
but
I know,
being
I don't
a
know.
public committee or public hearing, I
If
think
you
that
go
that's like
through and read
overkill.
the public art committee plan, it could be, because there's some problems around that plan the way it is. It could get, if it was a piece that was being brought forth by the public art committee, it would have comment from the village board. I don't think this needs comment from the village board. And the public art committee would be driving this particular piece. but you've reached out to them and supplied them with the information, so their non-comment,
There were certainly no objections.
if there were no objections, then I would take that as you have comment from the Public Art Committee.
I do.
And we-
that as well.
I'm so sorry to overthink this. We specifically solicited comment, or did we send it as just an FYI?
We said, this is for your information, this is what's being proposed. And we had a response from the chair, who said, I think it's wonderful, it's a great project, and I'm going to forward it on to the rest of our board for comment. And there were no comments.
Is there any language we could put in there, into any sort of, I don't know where we would put it, but if at some point down the line you sell that property, that the new guy doesn't come in and paint over it? Do you know what I mean? There's another question I worry about. Not that we're looking
Well,
for that to happen, I clearly don't want it to happen.
Encumbering his private property.
I know,
Yeah, I don't know that
the
you
answer to that.
can encumber.
I
You know
know.
what? This is a completely legitimate question. You know, another piece of that is, what if over time it degrades to a point where I'm like, I'm ready to do something different.
Right. You choose it, right, because time and weather and whatever, right? Which then raises to me a return on investment question that, you know.
I do think, Lorraine, you can answer that a little bit in terms of part of that quote includes a level of research into the types of materials that we plan to use in longevity. I think for me, that would be like, as long as we're in there, and if you look at my track record as a pub owner, and I've done a lot of different things over the years, they've all been, you know, long lasting, you know, very community engaged places, and we're coming in with exactly the same approach here. So there's no reason to think that this is going to be a quick in and out situation. Well,
Nobody wants that. I totally
correct, and my
understand.
track record has not been there either, to be fair. But as far as, you know, I've done murals before. There was a thing years back in the city called Wall Therapy. It was a ton of fun. It was all over the city. Wall Therapy was awesome. And I had a really cool piece on the side of my building at the time on Gregory Street, Tappan Mallet. And over the years, it did degrade, and it was getting to the point. I did end up selling that building, you know, COVID, that's the story. Where that was getting to the point where I either needed to get completely redone, like, you know, touched up or changed. You know, so I think for me, maybe Lorraine, you can explain a little bit what your plans are as far as longevity of the piece.
Yes. Well, as a matter of fact, we all know that there are a lot of different types of paints out there, right? So I actually work with a certain paint that is an oil-based paint. It's a paint that has an approximate 25-year longevity, right? So that'll take us way into, you know, 2050. But this paint actually is what sign painters back in the day would use, and they have lasted over at Art Supply, Rochester Art Supply, on the side of their building. They have a sign, it's kind of a mural, but it's a poster that someone painted that was over 25 years ago, and it is still holding up. So yes, is it a little tricky to work with? Yes. Is it a challenge? Yes. But it'll last forever, for 25 years-ish, give or take. And what I'm hoping to do, what I am going to do, is the base of each letter, I'm going to use an exterior latex on that. It will be more cost effective, but you don't need to have a really strong paint on the background. So it'll be very close to this color, as a matter of fact. So I would say the shadow, the lines, and each mural and the postcards are going to be done with the sign paint from Rochester Art Supply. I'm like one of their favorite customers there in terms of I always show up.
One of the points that everybody is excited that the Machetes building is going to be utilized. And We were excited about the renovations the initial renovations that Charlie
Yeah.
Fitzsimmons did in doing it. And what I heard the most common objection to that is, why don't they have windows in there? We have this big blank wall. How come they didn't put windows? The answer is the kitchen is there. The bathrooms are on that side, so it wasn't feasible. The windows were up above in upstairs. And so this is something that I believe really benefits the community in being a Fairport centric piece of art that has been reviewed by the Public Arts Committee, by the Village of Fairport, and now being asked, are we willing to be part of that and making a contribution of 50%? Or, we're open to say, yeah, if it's something less than 50%, we can entertain that as well.
Or more.
Probably not going to be more.
Thanks, Lorraine.
How to
Love a saleswoman.
I know that you're wrestling with, the future of this or anything else. I don't know if this falls into your grant opportunity, but you could say, we are supplying the grant for the artwork as is, future, in the future, it would either be maintained or painted over completely to one color. I don't know if you're allowed to give any kind of direction like that into the future.
We can, but we don't have like the same authority for that as a zoning board might or a planning board
Sure.
as far as their conditions go.
I'm just hearing some of this
Yeah, no, I hear you.
concern about what happens in the future with this, and while I know the paint is long lasting, I don't know that it really falls under any guidance of the zoning code.
And again,
Other than property maintenance.
Yeah.
other than
Correct.
property maintenance, and I would compare it most closely to like a facade grant, where after we've provided the grant funds to do the facade, we don't have a follow-up mechanism to ensure that the exteriors are maintained in any particular fashion. True.
True.
So the way I'm conceptualizing it is as close to that is the most analogous OCED example to me of how we've allocated funds, where you make an investment with the expectation of current benefit for however what the reasonable product life is. So I appreciate that. Thank you. And I agree with Kevin entirely. I, of course, see the benefit to this. How cool. There's a couple pieces in downtown Rochester that I have seen people taking selfies in front of. There's one on Park Ave, kind of by Park Lee, that has a similar aesthetic, and I see people out there taking selfies. I get all of that. I'm just I'm a process person. So to me, the question is OCED, it seems like a big design decision. Does OCED have that authority? Also, it's private property though. So the private property owner clearly likes the aesthetic on his building.
Yeah.
I think the fact that it's private property makes it a little cleaner. If it was village property, then that's a whole different scenario perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, a couple months ago, we sat here and had a large debate about a facade grant application for windows.
Mhm.
And the discussion was, does this fit the aesthetic of the canal facing property?
Yeah.
And we're not really having that same conversation here. So if we're okay with that.
Well, what aren't we having? We had the discussion regarding the windows, just as you said, but what did we do differently in that case? We had a discussion amongst the board, right?
Yeah.
We were the ones that talked
Yeah.
about, and as Heather had said earlier, we're the ones that make decisions regarding, what a porch is going to look like when we do a porch grant.
Yeah.
I'm not an artist, but I'm also not an architect. I make those decisions based on architectural value or aesthetics regarding that.
Yeah.
And I think I'm not seeing the difference here for us making that decision.
Yeah. I guess replacing a window in a whole mural on a prime property village seems like a weighty decision.
Do you have a suggestion where this might go then from here if we were not to approve it?
To look what, I think this is like the condition of, if we don't do 50%, are there other community partners that you may have talked to who may be also willing to chip in money
Like-
towards it, like the partnership?
They have no money. They don't get money.
And Donna, the idea being that if there were more of like a coalition of other community organizations, you would feel like it's more.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if this goes up and somebody, like, not somebody, I don't want to say this without having faith in a professional artist, because I have faith in it, and I like I said, I like the vision of it, but there's a risk here with something. So
Somebody will, because I think the mayor can talk to that there's always going to be somebody that doesn't.
Yeah.
Like when you said, let's ask everybody what they think of this, I will tell you that probably you'll get at least an 80-20, if not more, of the 20 being, the 20 could be bigger, of why are you doing that? Why are you spending money on that? I don't think I like that personally. Well, but you know, that's.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry if it was 20%. I mean, as a leader, 20% is a good. You know,
it could
not
be
80%.
20, it could be more. I mean,
sure.
that's,
Yeah.
you're putting things out for public comment at this point in time when it's a private business. You know, I don't like the new house is going in. Well, I mean, it will.
But it's also a private business seeking.
It is a private
funds.
business.
So-
That's what I'm saying.
There's a difference.
Just to the real
And
world.
that comment I just made wasn't me. That was a internet comment.
So like for me, as a private business owner, I really appreciate that I don't have to manage by committee, and thank God for you guys that do this all the time. I feel like well, donate is probably a bit of a generous word, but contributing some amazing blank canvas to the community to develop, because it's such a cool it's just such a cool space. And I'm also offering to contribute 50% of a significant cost for this piece of art, right?
Mm-hmm.
And would it be more in my interest to have like a stencil artist, like a wall therapy style thing, to take the graphic designer's font and do a really cool kind of old school mural house thing on there? I can tell you it'd be a lot cheaper than what we're proposing. I'm contributing pretty significantly for this personally, so I'm personally invested in this very much, and I believe in its worth, and I believe in being a good community contribution. So I feel like I am doing my bit, and when you talk about the longevity, don't forget I am also contributing potentially a lot more than I would if I went in a different direction. So I feel like I'm 2 feet in on this too.
So I guess I'm asking the question, if there are other suggestions, do we not proceed with this and just say no? Or are there other things that we should consider before moving forward? And if so, what might that be? And I guess I'm looking for input more than just questions at this point.
How big is this room?
Didn't count the ceiling tiles, but I'm not going to do that.
What I can add to this in terms of village, I think this is a really beneficial identifier in the village. A few years ago, at least 4, we had walked around looking for opportunities to do a mural alongside on public property, and we just never moved forward with it. But I think this is a great opportunity, that taking myself out of the whole funding thing, I just think it's a great opportunity for the community to have something that's identifiable as the village, and it looks like it fits with the colors and the ideals that we would want to demonstrate on a building. So from that aspect, the village did look around for quite a while, and we just never got anywhere with it at putting murals like on a canal wall. That's why I think this is really great, because it's private property, but it faces the canal, and I think that's a really good thing.
Thank you. Now, just to kind of keep this in mind, this room is 40 feet. We're adding another 15 feet out. So that's gonna be seen from the farmer's market almost, you know?
From the moon.
From the moon. So yeah, so this is 40 feet, another 15. So I think. And also, with so much about the canal is so historic that this kind of color palette, but what we're doing is very historic. It's history based.
Yeah, I'm not a no. I'm a process.
Yeah, to be very clear, I think like conceptually, great. The artwork is beautiful. Like that's, again, it's just process, people reconciling with the process. For me, comparing it most acutely to the grant that we do for facades, there's not a public comment period for that. There's not a design review period for that. OCED makes a decision and it's good judgment that is an appropriate use of funds. Depending on the facade, that could be a substantial size building comparable to this that we would be making modifications to. I mean, when you think of the property that we just evaluated the windows for, if those are all facade grants, that is a huge building facing the canal that would be impacted by OCED funding. These materials were included in the public facing materials that were posted and available in advance of this meeting.
Yes.
Yep.
So, I mean, reasonable, curious folks could have reviewed the materials there. So there has been we've received no additional public comment on the materials before the board, right? So that's where I'm leaning. But the question of I hear from council that I think this is an appropriate use of the funding.
Yeah, and keeping in mind, this is the LDC. This is,
Right.
We're not constricted like the
Yeah.
IDA or urban renewal would be.
But at the same time, we just did some changes, likening this to the facade, and where I know we're calling this community art, but likening it to the facade program, we just amended our program itself to ensure that each structure has one proposal. And you're planning to come back for a facade grant related to the doors and et cetera on that side.
That's not true, Leslie. That is not the way it was amended.
It was not, it wasn't amended to limit it to one grant per structure. That was not the
Because we
change that
knew
we
that
made.
there
Forgive me.
Sorry.
We knew that there was going to be more.
With
happening
the
than
interest,
that. We knew there was going to be
funding
more.
comes, it has
There's
to
a
come from
multiple
the
Yes.
owner
You have to have
twice.
more owner
All right.
contribution.
And then
Forgive
after
me.
the third time or something.
All right.
And I would point out here, we do have a substantial amount of owner contribution. I guess I'm also compelled by the idea that it is private property. This is an opportunity for OCED to make it a placemaking wall in lieu of what could just be an advertisement for the business, which would be an entirely appropriate private business usage as well.
It wouldn't be 55 feet wide though. I know.
Who knows?
I don't think our code will allow 55 foot wide sign.
If it were
It's appropriate.
I don't know.
I know.
Yeah.
That's
That would be a whole
industry.
other discussion.
I mean, it could be, let's just say another option, if it was like just for the mule house. I could do a 55-foot mural of the canal, and just have a small mule house on there. That would be to code, right? We could do that, but the impact would not be as great.
This has been a fantastic dialogue.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think we have. But
Any more questions or discussion?
You too.
Anyone? Is there a motion to approve the request as 50% of the
9,600, so
9,600 OCED LDC contribution to this project?
I would make that motion.
Is there a second to it? I'll second it. Is there any further discussion?
One quick question. Rob didn't have any comments on this component,
He did not.
Did not, I'm pretty sure.
just checking.
Okay. Guess I'll do a roll call vote. Donna?
I'm trying to think of a condition. I'm not a full yes and I'm not a full no. But I don't know what the
Is
condition
that an
is.
abstention?
What type of condition are you, like, what is it that, what's holding you up, I guess? Is it?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to, it honestly has to go back to my original question, which is like a community support grant to an individual. And it is a private business, so but it's a community facing, like, I get all the logic that we've been around tonight on.
It's on a private property, but it's tourism based.
It's placemaking is how I would characterize it.
Placemaking to me fits more in with our mission as opposed to tourist.
Right.
All the tourists.
To me,
I would
right.
close secondary.
Well, as council has advised us to, it's certainly fits within our
Within
guidelines.
You could also consider as a condition an agreement that one allows the public to walk up to the wall for photos because it is private business. And you could also certainly require that the mural stay as is for 10, 15, whatever duration.
You could require that of a private business owner?
Mhm. You could put any condition on a grant.
Yeah, it's a grant. I mean, once the money goes out, it's the goodwill of the private property owner, right? Which I think we have.
Yeah. And the other thought, not to make more work for the applicant, is you could condition it on them bringing back a petition with 1,000 signatures of people that are
Oh, no.
supportive
That's
of
too
it,
many,
but
but
500, whatever number would make the board comfortable that there's a critical mass of people that are okay with the design or the funds being used. But
I just haven't heard an alternative
Yeah.
to what has been presented and us voting on that.
Yeah.
I just haven't heard
Yeah.
what else we should or could or shouldn't do.
Yeah. I understand that. I'm trying to. Leslie?
Well, the 50/50, you took, look at the stuff, we saw the artwork that came through, and I like the pictures. There's no question that the artwork is beautiful. There's no question that it's a statement as you come into the village on either direction. And I guess I was initially taken aback by the 50/50 split for something that just popped into our laps. We didn't talk about it. There wasn't groupthink. And
I would say that's what the purpose of these meetings, and that's what we're doing. The application
Yeah.
can come in for whatever it comes in at.
many times when we're talking about community art pieces, it's a much more protracted discussion about things like that. And I guess, I don't know, sorry. Just hung up on her. Anyway, that was what surprised me was, I guess, the ticket number and the 50/50 split, I guess. If it was a lower number, might be, and the condition, I guess, so that it doesn't go away. And
Okay, so what are you proposing?
I don't know, does anyone else have a thought on what would be more palatable?
I guess I would throw this out here, although this is not what I'm settling on. Well, let's see, how do I ask this? I guess, at what percentage of our support would this be not, like, no longer viable for you, or no longer interesting to come to us to look
Less
for
than
funding
50%.
versus doing it on your
Because,
own?
like, honestly, because if I'm being honest with you, I could do that whole wall with like a wall therapy stencil thing that
Right,
purely benefits my business, but I'm just spitballing there, $1,000. So I'm contributing over $3,000 more towards this project than I need to.
Yeah.
For something that benefits the community that I believe in.
Yeah.
So if you guys don't want to meet halfway, that's totally fine, and I understand. I would probably just go in a different direction, and that would be fine. I understand all that. So if you guys want to back off from the 50-50 contribution, I don't think that works for me.
In which scenario we lose the opportunity for any involvement in what the private property owner chooses to
Because
do
he doesn't need
with
to
his
go to the.
property. Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's an offer. Hopefully you guys love, and it, it benefits everybody. And I think I'm contributing handsomely towards that as well. Hopefully you guys see the value in that.
The facade grant, when an owner is required to make a contribution, what is the percentage of that?
50. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Well, for a single standalone property, it's a 50% match. But for the multi-tenant,
Right, in the new scenario.
it's still a 50% match. OCED never contributes more than 50, but the owner and the tenant are splitting.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna call the question again. Donna,
Okay, I'm on board. But mark for the record that I'm hesitant. Yeah. Okay,
Leslie,
50%.
So it's 4,800.
50% of 9,600.
$4,800.
I assume that's what you were moving.
Heather,
I am where I've been and have talked myself into a few moments ago, which is I'm a yes at 4,800. If it would make my fellow board members more comfortable to say it has to stay on the building for 5 years, that's $1,000 a year investment, 10 years, whatever the number, like time value of money.
I would, and I know, Lorraine, you've explained this to us, I would be more worried about it deteriorating and becoming an eyesore. So I would like something like.
Sure, and
What
again,
happens-
we all 1,000% understand and appreciate the acknowledgements on paint. It's just a what if type of business. So we're just interrogating the what if there's a catastrophe with the paint, which we expect never to happen. But it's just sort of how the brains, I think, are working. So understood and appreciate that the paint is going to last 25 years and it's going to be beautiful. And you, of course, want it to be beautiful for 25 years because it's going to help draw people in, all of that, like 1,000%.
So like a condition that it will be maintained by the property owner. So just a,
Lauren, is there any additional maintenance that is required of the property owner once the product is up? It's not like he has to do a washing or a coating every couple of years.
No.
Is there something that would extend the life of the product if he every 5 years wiped it down with a fancy setting spray?
How does it withstand?
There's no clear coat required, or that would help, or
Thank
every
you.
so many years.
well, if we
about
approve
graffiti or
this, we can
something
just
awful?
add our approval, and it doesn't have to be on the vote. We can direct the executive director. If we approve this, then she can say that it must be maintained by the property owner. If you want to condition it over a period of years, then we can add those things to, just as we do with a porch grant or a facade grant.
Yeah, obviously it's all in our interest for this thing to last a long time, right?
Yeah.
But it can't be just some open-ended thing, right? There has to be a certain amount of goodwill here that we're all moving in the same direction, right?
Yeah, yes, and if there's any way you can coat it or whatever to make it graffiti proof, that you can wash it off versus have
That's
to
a great
repaint it,
example.
because that area can be sketchy.
Yeah.
Kids are out there.
One of the
Can't
things-
matter anymore.
One
I
of
know.
the things that was not
Sketchy
brought,
everywhere.
One of the things that was not brought up here on in the soffits, there are can lights that this sign will be downlit,
Oh, it'll be downlit at night.
right?
It already is, actually, yes.
Yeah, the wall's downlit.
The wall is down.
I mean, those
Right now.
weeds just stand up great.
Yeah.
Is someone gonna come on?
They did today, part of it.
Now, do we have,
So,
All right,
that's it.
yeah. If we can graffiti proof this, so you can wash it off versus have to repaint it totally, you know, I don't know the answer. I'm not a painter, I'm not an artist.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
believe that's.
I have painted over a lot of graffiti in this village though.
I will say this, I've had a lot of, various different public things and like, on walls that are, you know, accessible to the public. Graffiti artists do seem to have a code of conduct where, I mean, they do. I've never seen somebody tag something over something that exists.
Well, these aren't graffiti artists, these are vandals.
I've never seen a vandal.
I don't know.
I've never seen,
I hope we never see one
A
too.
lot of stuff, I've never seen them do it over something existing. That's just my experience, that's no guarantees. But I've watched.
Yeah, I don't know that there is a graffiti proof thing, but we
I
can.
don't know either.
No, how about this? How about it's approve at 4,800 with the condition of due diligence investigation into options for graffiti prevention and maintenance for a period of blank years.
That was your motion.
Reasonable,
That's my motion.
He wants us to make it
5 years.
5 years.
five, so reasonable.
Yep, to me, that's reasonable.
Yeah, to me, that's reasonable.
All right, aye.
What do you do?
Let's go.
So the
Does that make
amended,
sense too?
Makes sense to me.
Okay.
Sounds like a good compromise with kind of the concerns.
Thank you.
all right, so Donna, you're an aye,
I'm
Leslie,
an aye.
Bye.
you're an aye, and I will vote aye, so it passes.
What a collaborative discussion. I am a cheerleader. I'm a cheerleader of this beautiful place we live.
All right.
And now
thank
it is
you.
gonna be
All right,
more
thank you.
beautiful.
You
This
can
is
put a
going right
stamp
in
on
the-
it and-
This is going right in the dock master's hut.
Yeah.
I love it. I was gonna put mine in a little frame and put it in our,
Oh, yeah.
so like, so fun.
We have a number of
Our,
those.
yes, I mean, we have our Canal Days posters.
All right,
All right, well, I'm gonna knock that out to the clock here.
You know what?
Congratulations.
Thank you. Oh, I don't.
I know a lot about it.
I've always wanted to say that. Have a good evening. Congratulations.
okay.
Thank
So
Thanks.
let's go on.
Thank you.
Kevin?
Oh, Joe, good to see you again.
Nice meeting you. Thank you.
Oh, my God.
See you, Lorraine.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing it. Thank you, Lorraine.
As always. Go,
Oh,
Sorry. All right, are you take these back.
forward to seeing you.
Lorraine, don't forget your big ones.
well, you know what? These have the mule, and if anyone wants them in their office, go ahead.
Truly? Do I have to disclose this anywhere, council?
It's abandoned.
To the,
It's abandoned, so that's good to
Abandoned
know.
property. I like you.
all right,
Tell Ed to watch out. You like the new guy.
ask for approval of the June 15th LDC meeting minutes.
I'm sorry. Totally understand. Okay.
And I'm looking at September 15th.
It does say September 15th.
2025.
Yeah.
So,
I'm sorry, I didn't.
so
Catch that on
the
my
motion should
review.
include correcting the date.
With the correction of the date, I will move the acceptance of the LDC meeting, but we're staying on LDC, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Second.
Comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, moving on to financials, resolution 2026-07, authorizing payment of the LDC bills.
So I reviewed the bills. I reviewed the bills and the journal entries, and I would make a motion to approve their payment.
I'll second that.
Any questions on any of those bills? All in favor?
Aye.
We have cash balances and P&L statements, balance sheet for LDC. Any questions on any of those? All right. Next item is the loan status report. We have one item on here that is showing being delinquent, and Jonna will be reaching out and come back to us with more information regarding that. This is the one that's always a little confusing to us, the 3-month payment. But
So I'm going to come back with a more immediate follow-up the next board meeting with a hope for a up-to-date current by next board meeting.
John, sorry, just going back to the budgets, I have a question because I think my months are confused in my head. When's the end of our fiscal year?
Our end of our fiscal year is September 30.
Okay,
Yes.
and
for LDC
budget
as well.
preparation is, yeah, that's how I think of July's budgets.
Yes, so we do need to schedule a finance committee meeting
Okay,
to review budgets, but we approved them last year in August meeting.
okay,
Maybe
So-
I missed that.
August is a blink from now, so we should be.
Yes,
okay, all right.
yes. So internally, we are working on those in preparation to schedule our
Fine.
finance committee meeting. Yes.
I knew July was in my head for some, July budget was in my head for some things.
Okay, anything on loans? Okay. Facade grant program. We do not have any applications, correct?
No applications.
Sorry, you approved, I saw that you approved the Churchill Craft School at the last meeting, but it wasn't that, where is that? Is that the,
That's the windows.
okay,
Yes,
And Canal Side Commons.
at Canal Side Commons. Yes.
By the way, can I say,
1,000 Turk Hill Road is the address.
I just have a question about the sign and facade program chart.
Okay.
When a grant has expired without usage, how long do we just carry that as a matter of information? Forever?
Not forever, but for some time. We generally check
Is it a
in with the
year?
grantee.
do
It's generally 9 months,
Amy,
I
how's
think,
that?
is
Is
the
it 1 year?
criteria, and
It's
then
9
we,
months to complete, but there have been extensions issued.
yeah, we typically
They
extend
kind of,
if
they'll
somebody
approach
comes in
us
with
and we'll
a.
approach them and, like Lombardi's is just, it's
Yeah.
delayed, we haven't made any decision to.
Got it.
take
All right, that was
away.
my question. So
Yes.
Lombardi's is an open grant that the money has been allocated for, but they have not taken action on it for whatever reason.
Correct.
yes.
Okay.
Can we?
So that expiration date is not a real date. We would extend if they
We
came back
would
to us.
extend,
Okay,
yes,
thank you.
But they should be notified.
yes,
Yes,
when
can we
get
get
to them.
some information about what is their plan? And if it's
yes,
to not proceed, we can move it.
Yes.
yes.
Thank you.
That's exactly what I wanted. I think you.
Okay.
Hammered home my
Anything
request.
else on facade grants? All right, we're gonna go to Jonna's executive director report.
Okay, so typically we start with IDA and I do the executive director report there, but the executive director report is for OCED, and so we're doing it here today. But also we have, I have a topic, the bond program that is LDC specific, and we have some updates there, so it fits. I'm gonna go a little faster than maybe I was before. It's been here a minute. So when we met for strategic planning, we talked specifically about a desire to try to actively move our bond program forward. And since then, we have been working on that from both a come up to speed, be conversational about what is the grant program, identify what is the right path forward, and start putting that into action. And today, so fast forward to today, feeling much more ready for that activity. So since our last meeting, I have worked with Ed to come up to speed on the program and have a better handle and feel comfortable. If I'm in a scenario where there's a bond opportunity, I can identify that and develop that opportunity. Additionally, it's having that understanding, it's more clear as to the right approach to how do we develop these bond opportunities. And that approach seems to be going to where those deals are happening. And that's often where a project is trying to get financed. So I'll pause there to refer you to the piece that's in your packet. And that is a flyer. Amy helped me put together this lovely piece to talk about what that bond program is and to be able to approach those opportunities with something more like, hey, how about a bond for this? So with this piece, it allows us to better position our bond opportunities. So maybe you do or do not know much about a tax-free bond, but a tax-free bond is really a financing mechanism for projects that are community, that have a community benefit. A senior home, housing projects, a school, educations, dorms, things that are by a nonprofit or the use has a benefit to the community. So the use is what qualifies the bond to be tax-free. And that means the financing for the project from the lender, the interest is earned tax-free from the lender, and then the lender passes on that benefit back to the borrower in a lower interest rate. So essentially, we offer a conduit to a lower interest rate for a community-based project with an external lender and a project that meets the use criteria. How was that, Brandon?
Excellent
That was
job.
very
Thank you
good
so
job.
much.
And the benefit to us as LDC of doing the bond is that we earn the interest.
We don't earn the interest.
What
We
is
are
the
only a
benefit?
conduit. We earn a fee.
Okay.
We earn a percentage per hour.
interest goes to the bank.
UTEP right
We get the
now,
fee.
we earn a 0.75% fee is what our UTEP says.
And we also have all of the legal fees are paid for by the person
Correct.
getting the bond.
Yes, there, bond counsel is established and the user pays bond counsel.
So our fee that we get is net of any expenses. So
Wonderful.
So it is a way, we've talked also a lot about how do we fund the LDC. And this is a way to fund the LDC that is already exists. We already have this authority and program in place. It is very low risk to our organization because the lender is not us. The borrower has to qualify for financing and meet the criteria of that external lender. We don't have any financial risk from that perspective. Other than the investment of the staff time to manage the program, it's an excellent way to fund the LDC, and I do believe should be more of a priority of where we spend our time to develop opportunities for that. We still can fund the LDC through other mechanisms that we've talked about, but this is a way where the LDC can fund its own programs directly and not be dependent on the interrelationship.
Pardon me, so many questions, like always, forgive me. Are we limited to providing bonds to projects in Fairport Village only, or can these be in any location?
They can be in any location. Well, I don't know if we can go outside of Monroe County.
Correct. But so you have a broader
Yes.
footprint of places you could do this through.
Yes.
How do you, like, this is beautiful. Your flyer turned out great, like always. The marketing collateral coming out of here is outstanding. How do you pitch this to other places, and like what's the plan?
Great question. Thank you for asking. Yeah. Relationship with commercial banks. They're already in the deal cycle with the project that's trying to happen. So at the same time that I've been working on this. I went to an event and connected with a developer who has a project that meets the criteria and is in this exact process. He has a project working on financing. A lower interest rate would be quite attractive, is already working with a well-qualified local bank who is familiar with bond financing, but just wasn't aware of this kind of opportunity. So commercial banks, number one conduit. They're already talking to the potential developers, and the right banks are going to know about this project, and the ones that don't, that's my job to let them know about it and qualify them if they can be a partner for potential projects.
But now the banks are not the bond buyers, correct?
They can be. So it can be a private placement directly to a bank, or it could be publicly underwritten where you would have an underwriter that buys the bond and then sells them to whomever.
Because as I look at who is eligible, it starts off with 501c3s, and then you talk about educational, healthcare, stuff like that. Is that the project has to be that?
Correct.
Or the ultimate owner of the project has to be a healthcare, has to be a hospital?
It's whoever is getting the benefit of the bond. So if it's a tenant that's doing a project, the tenant has to be the one obligated to repay the bond. If it's a hospital, they would be the person on the hook, whether they own or lease their land.
But so does a tenant qualify though under their eligibility?
It would if they're a qualifying organization. So if it's a tenant's a 501c3 and
so
they're
they're not, and I'm going,
Yep.
I'm leading, so I'll get right to the point.
Yep.
I don't have a formal application.
Jonna has been talking with someone who, he doesn't have an application. It's very early. She met just as she told us, she met this guy. And he's a developer. And he's not a 501c3. But however, he is doing a project that I believe is going to be a leaseback.
It's going to be a leaseback.
It's going to be a leaseback project for an educational facility. And then has a bank involved.
Yep.
Who gets the bond or can somebody?
Yeah, so that's definitely eligible for it if it's structured correctly. So, if the developer is going to construct it at its own cost and then just lease it and try to recover, the cost of building it through lease payments, that structure doesn't work with a bond. If the school is going to borrow the money and then do like construction draws to pay the contractor, in that case, it would be bond eligible.
It matters
And that
who
would
the
go through the
project
bank.
owner is
Yeah.
in the construction contract.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. Basically, the person that's going to be responsible for repaying the bonds has to be that 501c3 or other type of public charitable person. So it doesn't work if the contractor borrows money to build it and then recovers through a lease for that, which is less typical anyway.
So it's a question of the deal structure, but so maybe just a thought for the document. Who may be eligible? Maybe you would consider saying what kinds of projects may be eligible. That would make clear that it applies to the project and that not necessarily the entity, right?
I think that makes sense in even using this a little bit, and in this scenario, I've had similar questions around that. So thank you.
Will this be made? Are we going to post this on our LinkedIn? Are we what's our plan for this snazzy collateral?
So I'm not sure about posts on LinkedIn. I like to collaborate with my marketing partner on that kind of stuff. But beyond just the regular networking, I have a initial presentation of this opportunity tomorrow night at Crew Network event at Design Space Studio. So
What is Crew?
Crew is Commercial Real Estate Women. It's a networking organization that I'm a member of. But so
I was invited to that even though I'm not a woman.
well, it's not, we're open to guests.
Jackie.
We're open to guests. I think the point is to start promoting it from an educational perspective. This is a tool we have. And that's what all of our things are. We have tools to help projects get done in Fairport and sometimes outside of Fairport, but sometimes we present these things in really like complicated ways and it's very overwhelming. But tomorrow night, I'm just going to talk about this is a tool we have to help projects get done. And so in that community are developers and financiers and real estate folks, and they will remember that and say, okay, how are we going to get this project done? This is a tool. So I need commercial bankers to know about this tool, and I need the local construction and real estate community to know about that. So yes, we'll use our regular marketing programs and, you know, all of the above, but really start using it just like I do with all the other stuff. I just didn't get it enough to be able to do that.
One of the other ones that we've always talked about as being a potential source are Jennifer's people, the Path Stones,
Yep.
the,
So,
you know, the not-for-profits that are doing
Section 8 housing.
in different housing
yep,
programs.
yep, yep. So I'm circulating in the nonprofit world now,
Oh, yeah.
registered, right? So I would advise the Council of Agency Executives. It's all the nonprofit executives, including they have like a group of finance directors as well in that. So I can make that introduction if you'd like. So one of the questions I think I discussed this at the strategic planning meeting, what I'm hearing from nonprofits is that, and all the state lawmakers know this as well, the state, nonprofits get contracts from the state to do what you want to call projects. And the state, so they have a signed contract, let's say like July 1st, they get a signed contract. On average, they're not getting paid for 6 to 7 months. And they have and what they're doing is they're going out and getting financing so that they can pay the salaries of their staff based on their contract.
Bridge.
Pardon?
Bridge financing.
Yeah, bridge financing at like rates that I'm sure are, you know, would help with this. So I am curious if that would fall under the bond, like it doesn't say like
Generally, no.
contracts.
No.
Public
But you know,
contracts, but
what I learned
refinancing
did,
qualified
yes,
debt,
refinancing mortgage or any qualified debt.
Any qualified debt.
Any
Any
qualified
qualified
debt.
So if they've gotten a loan for it, it means they could, yeah. So there's a huge, I mean, and I talk to at least one nonprofit a week who brings this up. So it's a huge thing right now in our yeah, that's in fair state.
So, so I do want to make a regular commitment to report on our activity toward, you know, developing a pipeline of bond opportunities, a quarterly check-in at a minimum to say, here's where we're at, here's what we've talked to, here are the potential opportunities. I think they're going to be few and far between. The agency hasn't done one in many years, and it may take some time to develop that velocity, but even one grant at the scale that makes sense. So there are fees, and there are more fees upfront for the borrower than typical on a close for a project. So that's really the catch, if there is one. You save over the long term, but there are more fees upfront. And so, where was I going with that? I lost my train of thought about the fees, but
Maybe project costs, appropriate project costs.
yes, thank you, Amy. So good. There is, not all projects are going to be worthwhile because the fees are more significant up front. So in my conversations with Ed, usually a project under $3 or $4 million is not going to be worth it for the fees that they have to pay. So our sweet spot is kind of over that 4, 5, 6 million. And then for any kind of big mega project, that's when you look at potentially adjusting your percentage to maybe like a flat fee. But so yes,
Good
potentially
opportunity.
that could work if their project fits the cost and the upfront costs aren't too high.
Good
So-
job seeing a need and educating yourself so that you can pitch it. Awesome.
What's that?
I said, great job. You saw a need, you figured out a plan, and you educated yourself on how to pitch it.
Thank you.
Awesome.
The other part is that potentially there is an actual opportunity here. And that means an application to the board. So I just want to clearly communicate that this opportunity is happening and is coming your way, and we can have any necessary discussion about it, and not to catch anyone off guard that an application is potentially pending. So
Do you have a sense of time frame?
I had hoped to come to this meeting with some more detailed application, but they are still working on their structure to the points that Brandon reviewed earlier. They are working on the right structure between the school and the developer. So this is an educational campus that has 2 buildings and is going to construct a new building. The 2 buildings already have some debt that totals around $10 million. The construction for the new building is estimated at about $8 million, but only 80% would be financed, so the bond would be about $6 million. And so our fee could potentially be based on the $6 million, but they are also evaluating rolling the other 2 mortgages into that for a potential total of a $16 or $17 million project from this application. So
I have one more question.
Yep.
It's like I'm trying to wrap my head around this. So also, because the bank takes the risk, it doesn't matter the size of our assets versus the size of the project.
I don't understand your question. I think.
So if, can we bond a $70 million project if we only have $8 million in assets?
Yes.
Yeah, correct. It doesn't matter. We don't.
Yeah, it's just our statutory authority
Oh,
that
okay.
matters. That's all they're looking for.
Okay, so as I receive the application and more details, I will share them with you in real time, and we will continue the discussion based on what we receive. Okay, that's it on bond opportunity. A couple, any other questions, or Leslie? You're
More
good?
to come.
Well, my mind gets boggled by numbers.
Sorry, I'm
Easily.
sorry.
So like, all right, a $17 million project you just met.
Yes.
We talked about the fees up front and the 0.75% revenue to LDC.
Yeah.
What would that generate to us?
So the most of the fees are legal, but well, that's not true. They have a flat fee, right? So if it's 17 million is the total bond that is placed, we get. Sorry, I can't even do it with a calculator. We get 0.75% of that. $127,000.
Yep.
Our last project we did, I remember that our fee was $90.
Yeah.
That was the healthcare, the
Memory care facility.
memory, yeah.
Oh. Good job.
So even if this is just like an exploration and gets us to a better point of being able to pursue these opportunities, you can see where it's worthwhile for us to invest time in doing that, because we can just replenish every facade grant that we did this year and last year from one of these projects. So
Does that $127,000 come to us in, obviously the fees are paid up front, but does the rest of that come through as a bulk payment in the beginning, or is it part of their repayment and we get little bits, 0.75%?
At closing, you get it.
Okay.
closing.
You could always agree to maybe induce someone to do it, to make it payable over a couple of years. Some people, I don't think the size of this project, it would make sense for someone to split it up, but the board could always agree to phase it out. But traditional practice is to take it all up front at closing.
Sweet, good.
Okay, so we're on bonds. A couple of updates, new businesses, BME building, talked about it a little bit. There will be a restaurant there. It recently received approval from the village for its design.
Did it need a use variance?
I believe it did, but it did receive that. Am I
It's a
wrong?
French restaurant, I'm told.
Jill?
Yeah. No,
Jill
I think
have been
yes.
working this.
Yes. I think
In very capable hands.
yes, and it did receive the approvals necessary. It's going to be a restaurant, an upscale American menu. I did not hear it's going to be a French restaurant.
I heard French and rooftop.
There will be a rooftop
Is it the
deck
same
and bar,
property owner we discussed last?
Yes.
time?
but the menu will be American, upscale American cuisine,
Or
not French.
May potential.
French fries.
Or maybe
Free
French
français?
fries. But they have a really cool concept planned for that rooftop bar and patio. Great outlook on the canal. And exciting to have that building potentially occupied. Another important development happening at that building is that restaurant's only going to be on the first floor, and the upper floor will be 6 residential units, which I believe also has been approved from a zoning perspective. So no vacant building,
I know, is that good?
new business.
Be nice, you know, to live sandwiched between.
What?
Okay.
That's for the developer and zoning.
Yeah.
to
The
figure
tenant.
out.
Yeah.
And the tenant.
And then the cafe that's at 1 North Main Street is sold and is in new hands and will be renamed soon. And
They're open, right?
they're open, yeah.
Mescalon,
They've been here
man.
about 2 months, and they've sold and turned over already.
What?
The little.
It was the Black Dog and then it was no name, but now it's going to be a new name.
Is
And it is
going to
definitely a
remain
new
cafe?
owner. Still going to be a cafe, or it's operating still today as a cafe, but new owners, look how fast you can start and sell a business in the village of Fairport.
Can I
Cafe
ask
is kind
that,
of funny since there's so
Do you
little
think it was
seating.
sold because it was doing well and they were able to flip it?
Have no insight there, cannot
And
say.
I'm so sorry. I'm correct in understanding that they can't produce food on site?
I don't believe they can. They don't have an Ansel system there.
What does Ansel system mean?
It means like an exhaust for
Fire
cooking. and-
Okay.
Fire
Suppression.
protection?
Fires.
Okay.
suppression.
'Cause I didn't-
Is there any, do we know if that new restaurant at BME will be coming up to us for any incentive?
People are always interested in what incentives we
What can you
might
give
have
me?
to offer. It's always, you never know if they are going to apply for them. The new restaurant owner did ask about the sign and facade grant specifically for the roof. I said that I find that is not a specific, clear, appropriate application, and that the view from the public right away is like the wrong thing. Like standing on the ground, you don't get the benefit of the great view you're creating. So generally, I discouraged that use as his application. He's got a lot of work to do, and I shared with him the accessible doors program and other things that it could be applicable for. I don't know if we'll receive an application or what it will be for.
It's gonna be the same business with two different settings, or is it?
No,
is the rooftop
one
bar a
bit-
separate
one-
business?
Same business, 2 settings. So there'll be a dining room inside downstairs, and then stairs to the rooftop where it will be partially covered. So there will be some seating and then partially open. He's looking at ways to use it all season, maybe with like temporary enclosure. Sometimes you see that in warmer climate cities, but they do have that. You can enclose your rooftop.
And when might that be completed? Just even the downstairs.
Oh, he is hoping to be open for November for Thanksgiving. I think that is, he'll be working fast, but that was his suggested time.
Oh la la.
Okay, last thing, we had a kickoff meeting with MRB to talk about a DRI application for this round. We are coordinating with the village manager on the process, and we are awaiting a proposal from them on support for the application similar to last year. We're hopeful that that proposal will be less than last year because we have a good baseline of stuff to work from and experience in the process. So
Thank you for sending the other applications.
you're welcome.
Is that it for your
Yeah.
report?
Oh, I'm sorry. Can I just one more thing? Last week, I attended the IDA Academy that is focused on some training from the ABO. It was very useful from a better, clarity on some of the why we do some things. And especially, that is the first ABO training I have been to. And it was, I think, more useful now than it would have been a year ago to do that. But at the same time, I think it's important that together we all review some of our compliance goals. And while I think we're in great shape from our compliance perspective, I just want to maintain that. And so we're going to look at maybe some group updates on some new things that are out. That's it.
Old business, family nights, you can pitch that.
Family nights, we approved, did we approve? Yeah, we approved family nights last time around. So you have a flyer in your packet that has the dates and a preview of the creative that we're using in social media and advertising. We also do get a sponsor through Greenlight. They are contributing $2,500 to the $5,000 budget. Everything's lined up and it's going to be amazing, but don't tell too many people because Amy's getting nervous.
Low key.
Yes.
Again, the flyer looks great. Love the idea of bringing a receipt from a village business to earn a gift card. Creative.
What is our involvement now that once this thing is up and running?
So
In an I'm looking at Amy and you.
yes, the village has a designated person to run the event. That is Jean Fitch. And we're going to help because, many hands just on the
When you
night
say
of
we, who is we?
Amy mostly, and me sometimes, not you.
And what will that help consist of?
Mostly around vendor management. So we're going to rely on the village for the physical execution, the heavy lifting of getting the site ready and managing, things that are happening. But vendors also require some oversight and coordination. So we split it up that way. And Amy will continue to own the creative on marketing and communications because, why wouldn't she?
But the safety site setup and that management is being
DPW.
affected by the talented people at the village who have that
Correct.
level of knowledge. Great.
Yes.
Okay, any other old business? New business, the governance committee minutes. Rob is not here to report on that, but Jonna has included those minutes for our review, and it's the same for all three agencies. It's basically we reviewed. The goal was, and I think we accomplished, getting a uniform policy across the three agencies that all are similar. Obviously, they have differences, but the same language across the board. And so we accomplished that. We also talked about future steps, and those were property disposition and acquisition. Which we spent the most time on for those. And what else?
So,
And then the indemnification, if you wanted to talk about
I
that.
was just gonna say, largely, no substantive changes from things you might have heard about in the past, just making sure all three boards are operating under the same policy was really the effort. And then with indemnification, we added one small bit of clarifying language.
And then I see new business. Sorry, I missed one meeting and I don't want to take up all the time for the next. Because I just saw a bill here under the URA for Chat GPT. So I have a question if we should have, question if the village has an AI policy, and then the question, should we have an AI policy? And if so, would that be a governance thing?
I would think it'd be a governance thing. What are we using paid ChatGPT for?
I was gonna ask Jen when she comes.
Okay,
It's URA, so.
it's URA, okay.
Yeah.
Jen is not the only user, but Jen can tell you more about her specific usage.
Okay.
We use it for like basic drafting of stuff. Like I want to create this.
And would I be right in understanding that with the paid subscription, you have privatized the information, so you're not sharing it in a public-facing model, you're keeping it internal to the organization?
I think the answer is yes, but I don't know 100%. So
That would be.
I think that is
that
good.
would be my concern with any usage.
Yeah.
of it, but-
We don't put private data in it. We don't
Sure,
put,
of course not.
it's like, I want to create a form and it creates the form in a basic way and it saves you 40 minutes from trying to start from scratch. So for like basic administrative stuff. Amy?
I have a good use that we have, like I have property alerts set up so that I can more easily track when a front porch grant property is.
Great.
I don't have to check realtor.com every freaking day.
It just,
That-
yep.
Yeah.
So you're automating existing processes
Yeah.
from data that's already available on the internet.
Yes.
Should we make a note to mention the topic at the next governance meeting? I think it's a.
Yep.
Do we have some type of a digital policy already? Does the village?
Yes. There is there's a record retention policy.
What?
Julie, does the village have like an AI use policy?
Not that I know. I'm not aware of any formal policy.
Might be something.
Yeah, I don't know of any formal policy. We've not adopted any formal policy as far as I'm aware.
Just found out that it doesn't put up my photos.
They can do all sorts of
You
stuff,
guys
but
don't use Teams, you guys don't, sorry, the Teams platform, villages use a Microsoft platform.
Yeah, we do use
Are you thinking of
Microsoft.
Copilot?
We use
Yeah.
Microsoft 365
This
and
is like $700.
yeah, so have you all used Copilot,
no.
which is the internal to Microsoft AI?
Yeah, Jen. I would recommend that we put on the governance committee to have an AI policy and then we can talk about this specifically.
Yeah, but yes, talk about it with Jen, but it's just a function of Jen submitted the request. I don't think she's going to offer you more insight other than what she uses it for, but I don't think she's going to give you anything different than what I'm not saying don't talk to Jen, but I just don't know it's going to change the direction that you're going in.
Is the question the creation of a policy, or is it, which we should have?
Let's focus on policy because we're in the governance and then I can focus on the cost of the URA.
Okay.
I'll take a note that the question was asked and I'll share back with
Something,
staff and
And council,
determine.
yeah.
and is it something
Should
we
we
could benchmark with other
have something?
IDAs or?
Yeah, and I mean, it
Maybe
could be something I think as straightforward as we agree we're not uploading, especially with the URA, we are not uploading private, personally identifying information, client documents, private confidential like if we have construction records, stuff like that. There
Yeah,
are
no,
just some, and I'm sure nobody is, but just some guidelines around it would, I'd probably be prudent. And for the village.
Okay. That's governance committee. Any other new business for LDC?
Do we need a motion to approve these minutes?
yes.
Is it,
Well, it's not to approve the minutes. It would be to approve the changes that we have made.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we are. Governance committee will approve their own minutes.
Okay,
so it's a motion to accept the revised 3 policies?
Yes,
okay.
Can I make that motion?
yes, you may.
So I would move to revise the disposition of property, property acquisition and indemnification policies of the URA, or no, of the LDC. Do we have to do this separately in each event?
Yes.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any other business for LDC? Motion to adjourn?
Oh, second.
All in favor? All right.
There's 2 others. That's okay.
Okay.
What time's class at, John? No, we can skip. Oh, did she made it?
All right, so is Jen coming in next? Are we doing URA? Or
Let's
IDA?
get through IDA. I think we could,
IDA. is
I think we
good.
get through IDA. Okay.
Okay, I will. I'll call the July 20th, 2026 meeting of the Fairport Industrial Development Agency to order. Ask if there's public comment. Hearing none, seeing none, we'll close that. And ask for approval of the June 15th, 2026 meeting minutes.
So moved.
With that, so move with the adjustment of the date to be 2026.
Yeah, that's
That's
what
what
I
you
said.
said, right?
Yeah, that's what I said.
I second that.
Any other comments or corrections to those minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
Financial reporting for IDA Resolution 2026-07, authorizing payment of the IDA bills.
I have reviewed the bills and there were no journal entries, so I would make, there were journal entries. I would make a motion to approve the payment of those bills.
Second that.
Donna, did you say there were no journal
No, there
entries or there
were,
was
sorry.
and?
There were 2 journal entries. The LDC, there were no journal entries.
Okay.
But I figure there's a couple journal.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we have cash and investments, P&L statements, balance sheets.
Just a comment on the cash balance statements. The CDs that matured have already been renewed for 90 days.
We have our Tompkins investment report. Questions there? All right, moving on to old business, the CRM system.
CRM is another item that we discussed in strategic planning. We talked specifically about where we were at in evaluation at that time, and we had evaluated like some big kahuna systems and some really like shoestring type systems. And based on that discussion and what had been identified in the strategic plan, there was, from a strategic plan perspective, it had been budgeted as, a mid-level spend, $2. And from a needs perspective, we settled just there with District 360, an annual recurring subscription of $4,800, an initial setup of $1,500. We do believe that this will fully meet our needs except for loan processing. And we evaluated a lot of systems and none of them provide the same kind of amortization that Portful does. It's a weird little specific custom thing. And so we have to keep Portful, but Portful is relatively affordable. We're not going to get the loan processing, even in the big granddaddy systems at $15,000 annually. We still aren't going to get loan processing.
For how many years is the $4,800 recurring value good for?
We haven't signed a contract with them, so we still can.
20 years?
Probably not, but we could probably get that locked in for 2 years at probably maximum.
10
We can
years?
ask for more, certainly, but we still are just right now dealing with the 1-year annual quote.
Thank you.
So we're requesting approval to move forward with a contract with District 360.
Your motion?
It's a motion to approve the acquisition of the software.
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
We are not acquiring the software though.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
A license.
Purchasing.
It's a subscription. It's a license.
Subscribing, yep.
Enter into a contract with.
Yeah.
I second your motion.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great, it's so exciting. Really, I mean, there's so many things that just like live up here in our head, and you just watch how productive we're going to be over here.
Look forward to seeing it.
Maybe
Yeah.
not.
Look forward to
Don't-
hearing
don't-
about that
don't
10-year
expect too much,
contract
no.
term you negotiated too.
Any other old business for IDA? Okay, new business, government committee minutes. And as we talked about, they're the same minutes for all 3 boards. And so I guess we'll look for a motion to make the changes.
And the edits to the date.
Yep.
They're all the same. Okay.
Nobody's perfect over there. Perfect. It's okay.
I would move for these here policies.
I will second. Can I second? Yes.
Yeah, because we're approving the changes. not
Changes,
that-
yeah.
not that. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Any other new business for IDA? Anyone? Take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, I will call the July 20th, 2026 meeting of the Fairport Urban Renewal Agency to order. Ask if there's any public comment. Hearing none, I'll close that and ask for approval of the June 16th, 2026 URA meeting minutes.
So moved with the note that the date looks perfect. Not a modification.
Okay. Any corrections or comments? All in favor? Aye. Move on to financials, resolution 2026-07, authorizing payment of the URA bills.
I have reviewed bills and I would make a motion to approve them. I did want to discuss just the AI subscription now that Jimmy's here.
Good timing.
Yeah, so we were having a little bit of discussion before, but we just wanted to understand what it was being used for And then also if, you've looked into like, because I understand you have the Teams platform, if you've looked into Copilot and what ChatGPT is versus Copilot with the price.
I have not looked into Copilot. We just do the ChatGPT. We use it, I use it quite a bit, to check, for my writing, to run it through for writing. We quite often will ask it specific questions about regulations with HUD, and it's been very useful, actually. So it's mainly for writing skills and questions, general questions that we can ask very specific questions. I ran budget through it. It helped me take a look at that. Oh yeah, it does everything.
When you say you ran a budget through.
I just upped it as a test to see if I could have it look at, an Excel spreadsheet and analyze it and what does it do. So the possibilities of use are endless, but right now it's mainly used for direct questions, really, as a resource. What? No?
No, that's good. That's enough.
Board's concern
Could
is
we-
security.
Security,
and
and is it available to similar through Copilot or some of the other programs that we already have that have their own version of ChatGPT?
security included in the cost that we already have. Security in the sense of, are we uploading into a public facing model private information like resident information, resident names, budgetary information? That was the kind of, I mean, when you mentioned budget, I don't know what line items appear in the budget. So that would be
Just an Excel, it wasn't.
anything, yeah.
Right. Just to see if it can, what it can do with that.
Right.
But have you looked into what security measures there are? I assumed it was.
I just know that our account is in, that we have a business account or a private account. And
Yeah.
that I mean, did I read all the fine print or the fine tooth comb? Maybe I will now. I will look into it. And Copilot, I do not know. I did not know that capability. The ChatGPT subscription was in place when I got here, so I just got on board with it. I will say that ChatGPT, the subscription gains us a much more sophisticated model. I think that's the right term. Than anything that you might have experienced at a personal level. It's a lot more sophisticated. I don't know a better way to say it. Things that I've used it for, like Donna said, certain formatting, or I need help with this, but it's also so much of the information is buried on these governmental websites are really difficult to navigate. So for example, Jana and I are looking into ABO training opportunities, right? So, okay, I can go, but I can just say, hey, are there really opportunities for you to do more than just the webinar they offer? Can someone come here? Are there private entities that provide this training that are state approved or federally government approved? And it can extract that information, and says, oh, I got this from the ABO website. And I click that link and it'll take me to that site without me having to spend a half hour finding that website. So, I mean, to me, it's a very big time saver with questions like that.
I probably need
I think
yes.
the questions are, not to presume what your questions are not justify your use, but make sure we're using it the right way.
Yes.
That's all. So.
And then the board will be considering an AI policy.
Okay.
And I think, again, on security, the concern is just not uploading anyone's confidential information inadvertently, which I think you would not do, but I think just a good practice. And then another part I would envision of a policy would be trust but verify. You get the answer, but you then check which everyone is doing. I know, but right. But idea generation, absolutely, it's an incredible resource for idea generation and helping distill content down, voluminous content. But it would be, to Donna's point, if Copilot is already included in our Microsoft subscription, maybe just experiment with it to see. And Jen, if you use it for writing, Copilot often has a hookup into Outlook where you could start writing an email and you could tell Copilot to edit it for clarity and wording, and it'll give you a suggested edit.
I'll definitely compare.
Just to see what works for you guys.
Absolutely. I'll check out all the security policies or procedures or whatever it is. Jack.
Most of the security is just making sure nobody does anything silly.
And we definitely have a rule that we do verify the information that comes out. ChatGPT is a liar and it will just fill in blanks, but we know that. So we don't trust the information that
That's
comes
the
out
lawyer.
of
I mean, lawyers are
ChatGPT.
filing briefs with hallucinated cases.
Yeah.
Getting in big trouble.
All right, is there a second to the motion to pay the URA bills?
Yes, second.
Okay. Further questions? All in favor? Aye. Move to 2026-07, authorizing payment of the Section 8 bills.
I reviewed the bills and I would recommend approving their payment. I'd make a motion to.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Moving on to financials, we have the cash and investments, both agencies, P&Ls, balance sheets for both URA and Section 8. Any questions on those? Okay, moving on to the loan status report, it appears all is current.
201.
Oh, 2.
This is Corp 201. Oh, I'm sorry.
The
89.
0101.
890101.
Yeah.
The way I'm reading it says it was late, but there's also a past due.
So June was late, and July is.
Maybe you haven't received. It's been a July payment due 7/1 that is not received. Is that right?
I do believe we received June's late payment. I'm just going to check right now in real time too. June payment was received on June 5th, on June 15th.
Yeah, that's what it says.
The July payment is outstanding. 19 days past due for July only is what is outstanding. But still is outstanding as of today. Yeah.
Good. All right. For porch grant application.
So this application is for 62 Filkin Street. It is for the, as you can see in the application, the construction of a large porch. Right now, there's a small, maybe you call it a stoop, maybe you call it a small porch. I know that is up for debate, but this would build a full front porch facing the street on the front of the house. It extends the roof that comes over that current porch or stoop to come across the full front of the house. There is a slight indentation on the house that requires them to build it like a little bit around the corner. It is still a front porch, and we've done a drive-by. I just wanted to point that out. But this is a front porch project with a little side completion. He talks about it a lot about the side part of the application. So I just want to be clear that it's not.
But it's not unusual.
Yeah.
In the village porch scene.
So we've got 2 quotes. They both are far in excess of the requirement for the grant, and the recommendation is to approve. So asking the board to validate the staff approval of this project.
So
Second.
Any questions?
Shut it in over questions.
I think it's going to be a great improvement.
Yes.
It is going to be a great improvement.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, welcome Jennifer.
Hello, how are you?
Right.
Great. You got my email mid-month that
Yep.
you've been doing these food shortfalls, so now it's like, let's go, hurry. We have to build a pipeline to get it going. As of the end of May, so I kind of broke it down into 2 different sections, which I realized it's a little confusing. HUD requires that we use the 2-year tool, which I think may be something you may want me to, broadcast and kind of click in, because Rob was asking about projections and how to make. So at a later time, when you want to, I can go through that 2-year tool to show you what I use to map out how the rest of the year will go. So based on the 2-year tool, not the sheet that I gave you, I ran it for 6/30 for June 30th. And if we were to continue on as we were, I think this is kind of I've already discussed this exact figure, but we would have about 238,000 left in as a half-held reserve or a HUD-held reserve. That means that we wouldn't be utilizing all of our money. We'd be underutilizing by 238. That's if we were to continue on the projections that we're on now. And the trend is downward. So our goal is to reverse that slowly, but reverse that downward trend and end up as close to spending zero, spending as much as we can and ending at zero without going over. So on your sheet that I have, our total HUD obligations for this year are 3, you can see it on line 20, it's 3.6 roughly million total. Through May 31st, we've received 1.5 million. I'm rounding or whatever. So we have about 2.1 left as of May, which leaves us 7 months to use that figure, the 2.1, June to December. Roughly, if you take a look at the line 30, I know it's really small, but that's called our per unit cost. That's our average cost per unit we have in the program. So it's an easy calculation. You just take what we have remaining, divide it out by 7 months, and we have about $304,000 a month to spend. And that was as of May. So we need to get going because we're only at about 289,000. So we have quite a bit to go. I still am on the same figure that we can lease between 20 and 25 more by the end of the year. I don't know if that will happen.
Do you have available properties?
Well, they can pick any property. So our landlord retention program will start to be marketed again, things like that. So,
And I'm saying with just the general climate of the rent increases, how much rents have gone up.
Yeah, we haven't leased in a year and a half or 2 years. So year and a half. So we'll see how it comes back, what our payment standards are, meaning will our participants be able to find units that are affordable to them within the HUD calculation based on what we set our standards. Now I have to kind of see how that goes for the first couple months. We'll know right away, you know, if we're having trouble, that's when I would adjust the payment standard. But then it's a game, and that's something we can discuss later. Let's see where we're at now. I don't know, hopefully. We sent out 20 letters right after we got the shortfall notice. We sent out letters right away to 20 prospective tenants. They looked, actually, we tend to look ahead and see how many of the 20 are good, like favorable lease ups, meaning they'll stay in place, most likely. So if we have someone living in California on the list, which actually could potentially happen, they're unlikely. So we might send out 21 in that case, right? Because that person's right. So almost all 20, 18 of the 20 are likely. Pines, they live in the Pines, Jefferson Avenue, a couple live at Fairport Apartments. Those are like easy. We know they're gonna lease up, and we know those people are within our payment standards. So we probably have a good chance of at least 10, well, 6 to 7, maybe 6 to 10. I don't know yet, we'll see. So, but this is when I say we sit there and sit there and sit there, and then we're behind the 8 ball. It's now July, and this is not when you want to start leasing up and trying to get your numbers up for December, but HUD left us no choice. That could have been by design. Do they want us not to have as favorable an outcome at the end of the year? You know, normally we would know that we're on a shortfall long before this. But to me, it's a little late this year to start the pipeline again. It's not moving. So we sent out 20 letters. We'll see how it goes. I'll keep you updated all the time. I'm just excited about being out of shortfall. A lot of agencies are not. They just put, there's quite a few that are still in shortfall.
Jennifer,
Yes.
why is our agency out and other agencies are not? Was it like some proactive?
Yes,
Talk
very
about
proactive. Last year, when we did get out of shortfall, we were temporarily out of shortfall for a couple of months last year. And I decided to completely hold off on leasing, even though we were able to, because I could see that we would be right back in. And I think that was the right choice. So now we're out, we're well out, in my opinion, having what we have left. So I think it was the right decision to hold off. I don't think everybody did, because they get scared of their numbers dropping, their admin fee goes down. They don't want that, but we have enough saved. I feel comfortable. I held off, and now we're in better shape, in my opinion.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, so I think we played this one correctly. I think we're favorable. I think we did a good job. So now it's just a matter of trying to use this money. So the PBVs, we went under AHAP, which means agreement to enter into a housing contract for the project-based units, 8 at Northfield, 8 at Midvale 2. AHAP means that you're basically allowed to start construction now, and which for the Northfield, they're doing, obviously it's not new build, it's substantial rehab that starts, it should be starting now. It was slated for like June or July 6th, but it's a little back or delayed, but it should be by the end of July. They'll start their substantial rehab. They should be ending by April of 27. So that's when we can expect 8 more units. So right next year, a couple months before that, I'll let things slow down a little, so we'll be able to take on this 8. So that's how that works. Does that make sense to everybody? I'll let attrition happen. Okay. And then we have 8 at Midvale. There's going to be 8 new buildings. 4 of them will have 4 units in each, and 4 will have 3 units in each. and they'll be in front of the existing Midvale complex. That construction should begin, this September.
Do they need a
And-
bond?
Pardon?
Do they need a bond to do that work?
They have, nope, not right now. Not now anymore. I'm just.
No, you're good. Keep going, keep going.
All right, the construction should end, December 27th is when it's slated to end. And that's when we'll pick up the 8. Paul will monitor loosely. He's not, a significant impact on the monitoring construction. If we had more units, like 9 or more, we would have to monitor for Davis Bacon wages, but we don't. He will monitor construction just to make sure that, he'll attend a few construction meetings just to make sure they're doing things the right way, and that will be A-okay for compliance when they are done. And that's about what we're working on this month.
Well, it's a lot, and you got a lot in front of you now that
Yeah.
you have to go ahead.
Yeah. But we immediately did send out letters, like, I didn't wait, we sent them out within a couple days, so. Let's get started. Any questions about anything?
Anything for Jen? Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Thanks for sticking around or coming in.
Of course.
The late.
Of course, always.
Okay, that's that. Any old business for URA? Okay, new business. Donna, talk to us about the crew convention.
Yeah,
That
so
doesn't mean this crew.
you could join if you want, but, so CREW is a networking organization that I'm already a member of, Commercial Real Estate Women. It's an international networking organization focused on the promotion of women in construction and real estate, but really from a real deal-making and education focus, not so much. There's certainly a lot of value in social networking and those kinds of things, but this requires you to have a certain level of experience, and our meetings and programs are focused on education for members. So this year, or I'll back up and say, we have a local chapter that was started a couple of years ago, and there are 50 local members in CREW Rochester Network, and I'm a member of that. The chapter rolled out a scholarship for CREW Convention, which is a national convention, and I was a winner of the scholarship. So I won the registration fees, and my request is for travel and airfare and lodging, because this was unplanned and not part of the budget, unforeseen at the time. I've included a summary here of the event and all of the great benefits. I'm sure you have read through that. I'm happy to review any other details or questions, but I am requesting approval to add this unbudgeted travel expense.
To the URA, right?
To the URA, yes.
Wonderful opportunity to meet people you can pitch the bond program to.
Absolutely.
How many other locals do you think will
6.
be there?
From our group, 6 local delegates. There will be other local attendees, but good opportunities for networking with some good targets, locally and nationally.
And you've been a member of this organization for
3 years
since okay,
since its inception,
prior to us.
prior to you, yes. Yes, correct.
That's on that. We've sent other directors to Europe,
Wow.
canal conferences.
China.
I don't think John has any interest in flying.
I'm not going to go to China. No, thank you. No, thank
Oh, the
you.
next one's in China. That's right.
No, pass.
Sounds great to me.
Yeah, make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
I send pictures.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And what are,
September 22nd to September 25th.
Shauna,
Yes, ma'am.
it's just a personal question. Is there an online listing of membership of group someplace?
I don't know if there's an online listing, but we actually just put together a list of our members for the RBJ. I don't know if anyone noticed, but the RBJ rolled out a power list of real estate and construction. Only 2 women on that list. So we have taken an action to make sure that more women are part of those, that recognition. And we provided that list to the RBJ, and I'm happy to provide it to you as long as it's kept,
Yeah, I'm just
internal.
looking to see if, is it national or is it?
Oh, yeah, there is a national
I'm just looking to
organization.
see if there's anybody who I know on that list who don't, they no longer live in the Rochester.
Oh,
area.
okay. I don't know. I can only tell you about local members, but
That's
I'll
fine.
see
If
what
you-
I can
If you
find.
send it to me, I will not be
Sure.
sharing it with anybody. I'm just looking for somebody, Kim Russell, who used to live in the Rochester area, who used to do a lot of real estate work with home leasing and development in that way.
All right, well, let's
Just
find her.
curious if she's on there.
And that, so you leave right after our board meeting? Our board
No.
meeting is the 21st?
I'm gonna leave on a Tuesday, I think.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant like, am I gonna like leave Monday after that?
Oh.
Yes, got it. Yes. I will be present for the meeting. Yes.
I would have said
Yes.
following.
Yes.
Anyway, did we vote in?
Yes.
We approved it.
Yes, you did.
All right. Governance committee, motion.
Yes, motion to accept all these policies with the revision of the date, same stuff as everywhere else.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any other business for your aid? Okay, motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're out.